Yes, we're learning the Mimer Matza Zu. We finished the first paragraph yesterday.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
And we learned that we eat matzah on Passover, and it is a remembrance for the matzah that the Jews ate before they left Egypt. And they ate this matzah together with the paschal lamb, the Pesach offering. And they ate this matzah before midnight, and then on midnight, the God appeared, killed all the firstborn, and after midnight they left Egypt. Right, but the matzah that we're eating is a remembrance of the matzah that they ate before midnight, before God appeared to them. If so, asks the Rebbe in this mamar, why is it that at the night of the Seder, the night of Passover, we say the Haggadah of Passover, which is a commandment from the Torah to praise God and tell the story of going out of Egypt on the night of Passover, and we point to the matzah and we say this matzah we're eating is because the dough of our forefathers did not have time to raise up. It couldn't raise up because God appeared and he took them out of Egypt, rushed them out of Egypt. A normal person thinks, the reason that we eat this dough is because they really would have liked to have eaten cake or donuts or something. But they couldn't because God appeared and he rushed them out of Egypt and they didn't have time. The dough didn't have time to raise up. That's what it seems to be saying here. The matzah that we're eating is because the dough of our fathers didn't have time to raise up. There wasn't time to raise up. They had to gather it and run out quickly. All right, that's nice, and that's what it says in the Haggadah of Pesach, and that's what Jews have been saying. The Haggadah of Pesach, I think it's in this form for well over 1,000 years. Well over 1,000 years. This is the first one that's found, I think, was a Siddur of Reb Sadia Gaon, which he was about 1,000 years ago. So the question is, so we say it and this we go on. But if you look at what we're saying here, it really is not correct. It's not right. The matzah that we're eating is because as a remembrance of the matzah that they ate before they left Egypt. They left Egypt after midnight. They left Egypt after midnight. But that matzah that they ate before midnight. So this, what we're saying, the matzah that we're eating, is because God revealed himself and took them out of Egypt. That happened after midnight. And not only that, they didn't want to eat matzah. It was forbidden. They didn't want to eat cakes or donuts. It was forbidden for them. Chametz was forbidden. They were not allowed to eat. And not only that, the matzah that they ate before midnight, and that's the reason we're eating matzah, is to remember that matzah they ate before they left Egypt, before midnight. They ate it because it was a commandment. They had to eat matzah. It wasn't that they really would have liked to have eaten bread, but God revealed himself, and therefore they couldn't eat bread. They were forced to eat matzah. That's not so. They ate matzah because they wanted to eat matzah. It was a commandment to eat matzah. So the whole thing doesn't make any sense. We're saying this matzah that we eating now is unleavened bread because God revealed himself. But the matzah we're eating is a remembrance of the matzah they ate before midnight, before God revealed. So what's going on? So the Rebbe explains, and it's also explained in the book called Likutei Torah, that matzah has tremendous treasures hidden inside of the matzah. Spiritual powers are in matzah. Spiritual powers. And really, I'm calling them spiritual powers because it's above the physical. But really, it's not spiritual powers. It's above the spiritual also. These are godly powers. Because that's the message of Judaism, that God creates the spiritual and he creates the physical. And God's main revelation of his essence is in the physical. The spiritual is just sort of, how do you want to call it, the cartoon before the main feature. It's the hors d'oeuvres before the main meal. Very tasty. The upper worlds, you get tremendous pleasure, but the main thing in Judaism is not the spiritual worlds, as wonderful and as enticing as they are. The main thing of Judaism is this physical world, and in this physical world is revealed the essence of God. The essence of God. And when did this begin? With matzah. When the Jews ate matzah, it put it inside of them. It was the first commandment they were given that we have now. They ate the matzah together with the Pesach offering, but it went inside of them. We talked about this last time. It's the only commandment, except for learning Torah, that when we do this commandment, it goes inside of us. And when it goes inside, this matzah goes inside. It says matzah is called the food of faith. And matzah is also called the food of healing. It says in Yom Yom, there's a book in Chabad called Yom Yom. I think I even have it over here. Here it goes. Yom Yom. See? Yom Yom. And it has little sayings that were said by the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, and that the Rebbe gathered them up. And on the night of Passover, if you look, it says that matzah is called the food of faith and the food of healing. And that if you, person that has faith, is that heals them automatically. Faith, when faith comes before the healing, is that there's no sickness, even, which, by the way, that's very relevant to now with this corona panic. Now we're in a corona panic. This is my pupil today. Here he is. Like to meet, his name is Herschel. He's we're learning over line, and I'm sending this video to the others. Everybody's locked down in their houses. Everyone is afraid. Something like when they ate matzah, it says everybody had to eat. They couldn't go outside of your house. When they ate the matzah, they couldn't go outside of their house. Lo setzu ish mimeno. You can't go out from your houses the whole night of Passover. Everybody had to stay in their houses. And he says the future redemption is going to be the same thing. People are going to be in their houses. Okay. So faith, matzah, it says brings faith. When people ate the matzah, it actually brought faith inside of them, connection to God. But there's all sorts of different levels of connection to God. So the matzah that was before midnight that they ate had a lower revelation of godliness in it. And it's true, we eat that matzah as a remembrance for that. But our matzah that we eat is after the midnight of back then. In fact, we are now 3,332 years after midnight of back then in Egypt. So we have the revelation of after midnight. So even though the matzah that we're eating is a remembrance for the matzah they ate before midnight, because they ate it before midnight in order to get out of Egypt. That was the commandment that they had. They gave them power to go out of Egypt. So they ate it before midnight, and we're eating it as a remembrance from them. But the matzah we have has the power inside of it of after midnight. What was it after midnight? God personally revealed himself to all the Jewish people. This is Judaism. The basis of Judaism is God, the creator of the universe, revealed himself to all of the Jewish people and took them all out of Egypt. Not by means of, it says, not by means of an angel, lo yedei soraf, lo yedei malach, lo yedei shliach. God didn't do it by means of any emissary or any spiritual power, or not by means of any ghost or any whatever is the revelation or light or something like that. God personally himself passed over the houses of the Jews, smote the firstborn of the Egyptians, took the Jews out of Egypt. Amazing, incredible revelation. When God did that, it says the dough could not raise up. There couldn't be any egotism. Raising up dough is called egotism. Hello? Okay?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, v'hine, let's do the second paragraph. Ready? Hine, chiluk zeh, this difference, b'shebein, which is between. Kodem chatzot, before midnight, ula acher chatzot, and after midnight. It was only in the first Passover. Lifnei Matan Torah, before the Torah was given, right? The Jews went out of Egypt 50 days before they received the Torah on Mount Sinai. Masha'enkin, which is not the case, La'achar Matan Torah, after Matan Torah, even though Sheha Matza, that the Matza Sha'ochlim B'Lail Pesach, the Matza that we eat on the night of Passover. Okay, Herschel, you with me? He is Lifnei Chatzot, even though that the Matza that we eat tonight is that the night of Passover, you should try to make it before midnight. You should try to finish the matzah before midnight. As a remembrance of the matzah they ate back then. This is the level, nevertheless, and this is hinted at in the Torah, when the word matzot is written several times. At one time it's written without a vav. Matzot, that's called chaser. And sometimes it's written malay, filled with a vav. Well, according to Kabbalah and Chassidut, really brings that the letter Vav shows on a drawing down of godliness. That's also how you draw the letter. If you're a scribe, you draw it from above to below. It shows that there's a revelation of God from above to below. When Matzot is written with a Vav full, it shows that indicates the matzah which is after midnight, after God revealed himself. Sheyesh bo, the matzah that we eat now, even though we're trying to eat it before midnight, you're supposed to eat the matzah on the night of Passover. You're supposed to finish the matzah, even the afikomen. The afikomen is the last matzah that you eat in the night. The last thing you're supposed to eat in the night. You're supposed to try to finish that before midnight. But nevertheless, in the matzah that we have, that we're eating now, there is in it, in addition to the fact that matzah gives you faith, there's also ha'ilui, this high level, the nigla aleim melech malchi amlachim, that God personally himself appeared to all of the Jewish people. And this is in the matzah that we're eating. And that's, now again, I want to just stress this idea that according to Judaism, God is creating the world. He's creating the world from, if you want to call it, from nothing. So it means you and me and everything there is in the world, our whole existence depends on God creating us. On one hand, this is a little bit far-fetched, but on the other hand, it's very, if you want to call it scientific, I mean, how did the world get it? How does the world, what sustains the world? Something must be sustaining it. The physicists ask this question, and the metaphysicists ask this question, and even psychiatrists, and what's keeping everything in existence? So there's different answers, but that's a question. And one of the answers is given by Judaism. And I don't know if any other religion gives this answer, but here it is. And it's the answer is that God keeps everything in existence constantly. In addition to the fact that God enlivens everything, and God provides for everything, and God directs everything, and God also gives us this amazing gift which is called free will. But this God that we're talking about that revealed himself on Mount Sinai is not some big spirit or some big angel that, it's like a science fiction or like a Greek mythology or something. God forbid. We're talking about the creator that really creates us, right? This hat is not religious. What is it? My wallet, my eyeballs, this is not religion. This is existence. Everyone in the world that has eyeballs and that has a head and that it exists, every existence that there is comes from God's existence. That's what God's name is, the creator. And so this is total, of course, it's totally concealed. You feel you're being created. I don't feel I'm being created. But I don't even know what it means. What does it mean? God is creating me, he's creating everything. What is that supposed to mean? How can it possibly? It defies all understanding. Even though it's an answer to the question, but it's sort of a very vague answer. On the other hand, what is existence? Who knows? What is consciousness? Who knows? Right? We're saying there's a creator of all of it. And this creator revealed himself to the Jewish people. And not only did he reveal himself, that there was this big revelation and everybody was knocked out. No, the creator actually took the Jews out of Egypt. He killed the firstborn of the Egyptians, and he took the Jews out of Egypt. And he brought them through the desert with clouds of glory that surrounded them. It was directed. It was intentional. This God that creates everything has an intention. And his intention is that this world should be a good place. And it started on when the Jews left Egypt. When the Jews left Egypt, the world had a potential to be a good place, to take away the selfishness, and to take away the ignorance and the darkness of the world. And that is a wonderful idea, great, wonderful, but it's not inside of us. Inside of us is us. Inside of us is ourselves. When the Jews ate matzah, this awareness of God went inside of them. And when we eat matzah, it also goes inside of us, but in a way even more than it was back then when they left Egypt. Before the Jews left Egypt, there was a revelation of God. God told them to eat this and then they would go out. It was before they left Egypt, before they left this world of limitation. They were still slaves. But the matzah did give them the faith that God can be trusted. You can rely on. You can do what he says. And that God sent Moses, and that what Moshe says, you can do. You can go after him. And that's what Moshe did. He took them out of Egypt, and he gave them these amazing, amazing revelations of godliness and amazing Torah. And did he give them the world to come? Did he give them heaven? Did he give them eternal bliss? Sorry, wrong religion. That's not what Judaism promises. Judaism promises truth in this physical world right now. And eventually there'll be the raising of the dead. And we'll see how this physical world was really infinitely more meaningful and blessed than all of the heavens. And possibly here God reveals himself. In the upper worlds you get pleasure. That's all the other religions are based on going to heaven and getting saved and all this stuff. And Judaism says forget about that. That's part of Egypt. You got to go out of that. The Egyptians were very spiritual people. It says that the Egyptians could, even the school children in Egypt, they could change sticks into snakes. Right? Try to do that. Go to one of your preachers or one of your imams or something like that. Turn a stick into a snake. Let's see you do it. The school children could do it. They were super spiritual people. They controlled the whole world. Ruled the whole world. Can't be a better proof of a religion than ruling the whole world. That's pretty good. And what did the Jews rule? Nothing. They were abject slaves. And they were the lowest of the low because they were Jews. So who are you going to believe in? Egypt or this? So came along Moses, and Moses said, fellows, forget about what you see, forget about what you hear, forget about what you think, forget about what your father was a slave and your grandfather was a slave, your great-grandfather was a slave. You're going out. Why are you going out? Because now you're going to be servants of the creator of the universe. It's not surprising that when the Jews left Egypt and they got to be the servants of the creator of the universe, they said, it's really nice, Moses, thanks a lot, but no thanks, let's go back to Egypt. Let's go back. Then it was a little more secure. At least we knew who the boss was. The laws were like really clear. You just bring straw and you get food. And that's it. You don't get killed. That's it. All of a sudden we got all these laws and this at least promises the world to come. Look in the whole 5 books of Moses, doesn't say anything about it. There is such a thing. Judaism believes in the world to come. But it's small change. Here in this world, you can actually do what God wants. You can make God happy. And that's what we get, this faith, that all that what I'm saying now is true. It comes inside of us and we start to really feel it. It becomes part of our lives when you eat matzah. And not only did they get this faith when they ate the matzah the first time before midnight, but we also, when we eat the matzah now, we also have this revelation that was after midnight. That God, the Melech, Malchim, the King of Kings, HaKodesh Baruch Hu, God revealed them. That's in the matzah. That's matzah full with a letter Vav in it. Sheyesh bo gam Eloi. This is also the quality of Nigla Le'am Melech Melech, that God Himself revealed Himself. That's what it says in the Agada. Matzah zushana ochli, in this matzah that we're eating, al shumma, because of why? Al shum shalo his. Okay, you with me, Herschel? Okay, shalo his. What? Oh yeah, shalo he speak. That's why we say the sentence that we're eating the matzah because the dough that they brought out, it could not have risen. It could not come to be chametz. It could not come to be unleavened. What is the chametz? Is unleavened bread or leavened bread? Chametz is what? Leavened bread? What? Leavened is what?
Matzah is unleavened.
Oh, good. Oh, leavened. Okay, leavened the bread. wherever you learn the word leavened, I don't know. Okay. Until the King of Kings, God, revealed himself on the Jews. Okay, let's take a break, one small break here. Stop.